Hello and a very warm welcome to episode 3 in a series of videos in which I try to find the best viewpoints on the Isle of Wight and the best footpaths to take to get to them. Today I'm in Blackwater on the former track bed of the Sandown to Newport line, which is a line that we will be covering very soon. But today I'm going that way, westwards, towards Gatcombe, up Garstons Down and along to Chillerton Down, which you can't really miss because it's got a sodding great radio mast on top of it. The area around Chillerton is in fact a site of outstanding natural beauty, so I'm sure this will be an enjoyable walk if the weather holds off. They are anticipating rain later, so we'll see. The anticipation makes it more exciting. This walk will take us across the central spine of the Isle of Wight. From Blackwater we travel up Sandy Lane to Gatcombe before passing Garstons and heading up the down through the area of outstanding beauty to the mast, standing 228 metres tall above the village of Chillerton. One or two of you may be thinking, why do you start in Blackwater? Why not start in Gatcombe? It's got a bus service. Indeed it does, but the bus in question is the number 6, which runs at best once every 2 hours, maybe being a bit harsh there, but about that. Now, Blackwater nearby has 2 frequent bus services, so if you want to do this walk, it will be a lot easier starting there. Reason number 2 is the route I'm taking goes up Sandy Lane, which goes past one of the most intriguing yet sinister parts of the island's history, which is the Gatcombe Lunatic Asylum. Whitecroft Hospital at Gatcombe was opened in 1896 as the Isle of Wight County Asylum and became the Isle of Wight Mental Hospital in the 1920s. Most of the patients were committed for mania, and the vast overcrowdings in the 30s led to additional patients being squeezed into the recreational hall. The hospital went into decline in the 1980s and closed in the early 1990s. Although the site only shut in 1992, it is said to be one of the most haunted hospitals in the whole of the UK, so I'm quite tempted to come back one day, perhaps at night. Walking up Rectory Lane, we pass close to Gatcombe House and estate. The original building here was mentioned in the Doomsday book of 1086, with St Olave's Church built nearby in 1292 to serve the manor. The building that stands to this day was built in 1750 by Edward Worsley and Grade 2 listed in the 1950s. Gatcombe is a small village set within the chalk downlands surrounded by Garstons and New Barn Down. From here the views disclose themselves southeast towards St Catherine's Monument and north towards Newport and Carisbrooke Castle. We are now starting to climb towards Garstons Down, and the views from up here are spectacular. You can actually see Appledurcombe Down, which is the last viewpoint we did in episode 2. If you'd like to watch that episode, you can find it on our channel in the Viewpoints of the Isle of Wight playlist. Garstons Down was once, like many hills along the spine of the island, an area vastly quarried for chalk. It is now a reclaimed area of outstanding beauty, and also since 1971 a site of special scientific interest for its biological diversity. Now, wildlife is not the only thing I'll be looking for up here. Being of somewhat of a nerdy disposition, I like to scour over old maps. There's a great website online called Megalithic Portal, and it has an interactive map which lists a lot of the known sites of Neolithic and Bronze Age burrows. It also lists a lot of the known sites of trig points. Now, these are trigonometrical pillars which are used to map the landscape of the whole country. Megalithic Portal says there are 2 up here. There's one at the top of Garstons Down, which is no longer there, and there's one at Chillerton Down, which is well documented and it's still in good condition. Now, scouring over some old OS maps, I found that there are in fact 2 more, at least 2 more. Whether they are still there's anything left of them, I don't know, but I'd like to find out. Many trig points have now been lost to ploughing and weathering of the land, but a fair few still exist, if you can find them. Unfortunately, the route past the first point I'd selected on my tracking app appeared to be a private area. Not wishing to trespass, I decided to take a plan B route. Frustratingly, this passed east of the trig point, and the undergrowth was so substantial that there was no hope of even a glimpse of something resembling a pillar. If you are going to do this walk, I really suggest that you do wear trousers. Unfortunately,
I didn't have that insight. The lovely couple I just walked past gave me this stick, and they said you might need it up ahead, so might have to tame a wild lion or something. It certainly doesn't work for the vegetation.
Once I'd stopped moaning about the obvious, I took a minute to appreciate the breathtaking views over the surrounding landscape.
So we're now out of the woods, or the brambles so to speak. We're coming out of one obstacle. We now go into another, which is wind, so you won't be able to hear me too well. I'm not moaning too much though, because the views up here are fantastic. One thing I have learnt though is my trekking app isn't very accurate. Most of the footpaths it says you can walk are in fact on private land, and a lot of those footpaths go past the trig points which I wanted to visit. So unfortunately it's a bit of a dud on the trig point front. There is though one a little further up this way which seems to be along the footpath, and I think the footpath is walkable, so we'll see if that one is. Oh, wonder what that is. If you know what that is, let me know.
As suspected, the second trig point was within the restricted access field, so we moved towards the third one. This area is rich with rare flowers, plants and herbs, some of which, like the burnt tip orchid, can only be found in this area on the island. Frustratingly, the further up the path we go, the harsher the weather becomes. At this point I was trying to explain to the camera my confusion as I'd come across a sign on a gate stating that the path I'd been walking down was a no access zone.
Over here there's a barn behind me, and that is the area, that is about the location of where the third trig point would have been. Unless it's in the hedge somewhere over here. I'm going to walk this way because it says on the gate that this behind me is private, which I've been walking in, but it doesn't say that this is private. So I apologise if I am trespassing, but it's not very well signposted.
Just east of here sits the site of 5 Barrows, an area believed to be a Bronze Age fort on the hillside. Information on this can be found on the Megalithic portal. For me though, my destination is nearby and the rain has held off.
And there it is, Chillerton radio mast at 228 metres tall. It's by far the tallest structure on the island. It's over 50 metres taller than the Spinnaker Tower in Portsmouth. Now this is the end of the walk, of course. This is where I wanted to come to. This was my destination. If you'd like to do this walk, I suggest you bring trousers and don't rely completely on tracking apps, because sometimes they are wrong. Anyway, the next video will be a disused railways video, so we'll see you for that. Take care and all the best.
If you enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe, and check out the other videos on the channel, including our Isle of Wight Disused Railway series. Thank you very much for watching and all the best.